We're coming to the end of July in 2024, and it has been a crazy first half of the year. It's been a crazy month, to be honest. We have Shrouded Fable literally about to release in a few days' time. So today, we'll be taking a look at what's been going on in the market regarding single cards. I do this every month. At the end of every month, we go back through the market and we've seen what have been the climbers, which ones have been falling, and which ones are just kind of not really doing much. So we're going to be taking a look at the Scarlet and Violet era and the Sword and Shield era today on TCG Player. So sit back, relax, and let's see what's been going on. Alright, we're starting things off with a big card, the Gutina from Crown Zenith. Now, Crown Zenith is going more and more expensive. A lot of the cards are going up in price. It's doing relatively well. It's a good set. It's a very strong set. Even though it's a holiday set, it's very impressive. You know, it really is. And this is a gorgeous looking card anyway. All of the gold V-stars are nice. But let's take a look at this one. We're looking around $103. Over the past month, this card has dropped around about 9%. But if we go back over the last 3 months, the card is overall up 18%, which is pretty good, right? But it did actually reach 56%, right, a few months back. So it did do very well when it went from that 80 something dollars up to as high as 130, 140, and now we're starting to climb back down to 100. We go back over the last 6 months, and we can see that this card is up 33% over the last 6 months. Of course, we try to do all things long term, but it's also interesting what things are happening right now as well, because a lot of these prices can swing all over the place. We go over the past year, and this card is up 22% overall. So we did see, you know, the highs of this card try to reach 100, and it stayed around that 60, 70 for the longest, and then had this big boom, and now it's starting to settle a little bit more. So up 22% over the past year, but over the past 3 months, still up 18%. Next, we have the Steelix illustration rare for Paradox Rift. I did cover this in a recent video where I talked about like PSA 10 graded prices of cards. And let's look at the raw price of this. So this is $20. Over the past 3 months, this card has gone up 51%. Over the past month, it's dropped a little bit, right? It's dropped 17%. But the fact is that even though it's dropped 16 or whatever percent, it's still up 50%. At one point, it was up over 100%, which is just absolutely incredible. You know, this card is doing incredibly well. We go over the last 6 months, we can really see the climb. It is up 60% overall over the past 6 months. The set hasn't quite been out a year, but from its release price, it is overall up 45%. Big card. Big card. We've seen a lot of illustration rares, not just from Paradox Rift, but from other sets, doing incredibly well. And this Steelix is one of them. I mean, the card is beautiful. The PSA 10 price I covered the other day is absolutely crazy. And I think we're going to start seeing a lot of these from the Scarlet Violet era sets where they're doing very well, right? Not just special illustration rares, but it's the illustration rares we've got to look out for. We've seen it with the Magic Art, for example. Moving on, we've got my boy Entei from Temporal Forces. Now, Temporal Forces, I would say, is my favourite Scarlet and Violet era main set out there. I really do rate it. I think there's some just gorgeous artwork of so many cards I like in the set. But my boy Entei, not doing the best. Over the past 3 months, he has fallen 11.5%. Not the best. Not the best, if I'm being honest. Over the past month, it is up on the month, you know, about 3%. We go back over the last 6 months, I think this hasn't been out that long. Since its release, it is overall down 14%. We have seen the card climb. We saw a lot of the Temporal Forces cards go up in value upon release. Your Iron Crown was a prime example. But now we're starting to see all of these cards kind of settling a little bit more now that more product is being opened. And on top of that, the hype has died down a bit. And as more and more sets get released, the hype dies down even more because people are not really excited about older stuff and they want to open up the new stuff. However, when you do get a poor looking new set, which we have Shrouded Fable, people might want to go back and open up some of the others. Next up, we got the Eevee from Twilight Masquerade. Twilight Masquerade is just crushing it. You know, there's no two ways about it. This set is delivering on, it's just doing well, right? It's firing on all cylinders. You're seeing the Greninja doing very well. Booster boxes, it's all-time high, over $120 a box. This set has only been out like a month and a bit. It's just crazy. So the Eevee, over the last month, it's up 38%, which is crazy. I did predict that this would be one of the biggest cards in the set. And it is, right? It is one of the biggest cards, and it is continuing to climb. I'd say over the past few months, the set hasn't even been out that long. Since its release, this card has gained 38%. It's just incredible. Like, it's just a beautiful card. In my opinion, you could be seeing this match the Magikarp because it's a Gen 1 Pokemon. It's more popular than the Magikarp. And I actually prefer the artwork. Personally, I prefer this artwork than the Magikarp. I think this has potential. It really does. Because with everything Twilight Masquerade at the moment, because the portraits are so tough, it will help. It really will help. And it's already helped things like the Carmine and the Greninja. I think it will help the Eevee as well which is actually quite interesting. Right, and then we're going to go to the Gengar OR. Ooh, baby. This sucker has fallen like crazy. I made a video probably about a month or so ago where I was warning people, be careful of these Sword and Shield ORs. I believed that they were in a bubble and it was going to follow the same trend. History was going to repeat itself from the Sun and Moon era OR and the Sword and Shield ORs. Sun and Moon last year, big boom. Roughly around the same time of the year. Big boom. And then it just fell like crazy. Now, history's repeating itself and Gengar is a victim of it. So let's take a look. $300. This card over the last 6 months has gone up 42%. Remember, Jace hasn't fallen, right? We're on about. We go back the last 3 months. It's fallen 13%. We go back over the last month. I mean, it hasn't dropped down to 0, of course. But you look around about 10% drop. So this card, yes, fair enough. It is up overall. But it has fallen from the high of $410. And it's dropped $100 in value. That's not something to ignore. You know, there's no point going, oh, you know what? Yeah, but it's up 6 months, right? People have bought in when it was at 410. People have, right? People bought in as high. Will it go back up there? Possibly. You know, you could say, well, of course it will. We just don't know, right? We just really, really don't know. Don't forget with single cards compared to sealed product, single cards are a lot more volatile. Sealed products just trickle up over time. Single cards can be easily manipulated, as we've seen, right? And on top of that, we've also seen cards fall, right? We go back over the past year and we can really see what's happened. So overall, yeah, it's up 44%. That's fine. But at one point, it was up 97%. So you've got to be careful. Things do drop in price. From its high, it dropped, 50%. You've got to be careful. But still a really big card, of course. But yeah, it feels kind of bad for people that bought in at the highs. Right, next up, we got the Rolts. I covered this card in my PSA 10 card prices, things that make money on your PSA 10s and get graded. This card, if you get in a PSA 10, is like 20 times the value. It's crazy. So let's take a look at this. We're looking at $15 roughly. Over the past 3 months, this card has gone up 42%, which is crazy good. Of course, this card is from Scarlet Violet base, not necessarily the best set, but it does have some good climbers. Even after the past month, it dropped 18%, right? So in the past month, it's dropped 18%, but it overall has gone up 42%, and it was actually 69%, 70%. So it's dropped a little bit, but it's still relatively high. We go back over the last 6 months, and we've seen this card go up 50%. We go back over the past year, and we've seen this card overall go up 33%. So very, very good card. It's, low risk because it's quite cheap. We're not paying like the Gengar level that we just saw. So yeah, this is definitely one to look out for. And in a 10, this one goes for an absolute fortune, over $200. So that's definitely something to look out for, just from Scarlet Violet base. Then we're going to Evolving Skies. Evolving Skies, kind of like Fusion Strike, has been hit pretty heavy. We got the Rayquaza OR VMAX coming in at $400. Over the past 3 months, it is up 9%. Over the past month, it has fallen 12%, 12.5% from where it was. Over the past 6 months, it's still up 60%. Like the Gengar, it had that big boom, and if people bought in at $550, you've lost $150 in value already, right? And again, similar to the Gengar, you could say, yes, Jace, but it's up 60%. People bought in at $500, $550. It looked like it just could keep going to the moon, and this is what happened. So again, it can go back up there. It has that potential, of course, but you never know with single cards. So we go back over the past year, and this card overall is up 54%, which is very impressive, especially if you bought it in at this level. But if you bought it in around this level, it's gonna sting quite a bit. So yeah, big card, Evolving Skies. Booster boxes are kind of plateauing. Some of them, in fact, actually dropping in price, and a lot of the big cards, like this one, is also falling. And then to finish it off, we got to talk about the Moonbryon, the big one, the big Sword and Shield era card. Just like Rayquaza, this one has fallen as well to $840. I had to warn people about this. So we're looking at a 3% drop over the past 3 months. Over the past month, it's dropped about 3%. Over the last 6 months, then you could say, look, Chase, yeah, but it's up 50-odd%. Yeah, again, similar to the others. But it was at $960. This card has dropped $120 in what? 3 months? Yeah, 2 months. So in 2 months, it's dropped $120 in 2 months. That's crazy. That's a huge drop. I know it doesn't sound like a lot when you look at percentages, but in forms of actual just value and money, because this card is so expensive, even just dropping by 10% sting. So we look about over the past year, and we've seen this card overall up 39, but it has dropped from obviously that really high price point. And I think this is due to people just off-selling it, right? It's already gained a ton of value. These are probably people that are selling it when they bought it this level, right? Or even lower, you know. So like, for instance, for me, I was fortunate enough to pull this card when the set first came out. And back then it was like 100 to 120, right? It's absolutely crazy. So yeah, it is falling. Again, could it go back up to the value? Possibly. We saw it with the Latios tag team from Team Up. That one has fallen as well, so it's not just the Moonbryon. You know, we've got to be careful. That's what's been going on in the single card market right now in the Sword and Shield Scarlet and Violet. Scarlet and Violet is doing very well, right? It is like illustration rares, special illustration rares, even booster boxes. They're doing relatively well. We are expecting reprints pretty much across the board for a lot of Scarlet and Violet era. Whether or not we'll see reprints for, you know, things like Paldea Evolved, we have to wait and see. I would expect it to be more of some of the recent sets. So, you know, you're looking at Paradox, Temporal, Twilight, even 151, Paldea and Fates. I expect those to get, you know, mainly the focus. But you might get Base, Obsidian, and Paldea Evolved, potentially. We don't know yet, of course. The only one I do know that is coming is 151. But yeah, a lot of the cards are moving. And Sword and Shield, the big boom's over. The bubble was burst, and a lot of the ORs have been falling. Some people have been stung, but some people still have made really good gains. It's just how it works with single cards. It is pretty tough. But if you made this far into the video and you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash the like button, make sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments about what's been going on in the market. Do you think it's good? Do you think the, you know, Sword and Shield bubble has been burst? Do you think they'll go back up in price? I don't know. You know, a lot of them have a lot of, you know, room to recoup, you know, in those values. But yeah, Scarlet and Violet doing very well. But that is it from me, guys, in today's video. If you want to watch more Pokemon content, then make sure to click the video on the screen. Of course, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And of course, as always, you guys are the legends, and I'll see you in the next one.